Hello friends, welcome to part 2 of our power supply review. And now, ito po yung ating computer system unit na lalagyan ng ating power supply, no? So, Christmas came early, and once again, we'd like to thank Helix Technologies, no? And Seasonic Philippines for providing yung ating unit for testing, no? Which is yung ating Seasonic Core GX650. Now, you'd be surprised, yung power supply po na papalitan natin is actually also a Seasonic inside, no? As you see, it's a Corsair HX650 watts. But if you've been following my thread sa Tipid PC sa PSU thread, no, you'll know that this is actually a Seasonic inside. So, surprise, surprise, we're also replacing a Seasonic power supply. Okay, but between Corsair and Seasonic, better to go with the Seasonic because you have a local warranty. And nandun ka na sa mismong manufacturer. You know where sino talaga yung gumawa ng unit. So, and this is it. Okay, just for a quick rundown sa specs nung paglalagyan natin ng unit, no? It's an AMD Ryzen unit. And as you see, there's this beautiful graphics card na nakalagay sa loob, no? It's a Radeon. At anong Radeon to?
It's an RX 9060.
So it's an RX 9060 XFX, no? So as you see, no, medyo
XT pala yan. It's a 9060 XT.
What year did it come out?
Last year. I think
Bago lang siya, 'di ba? But it's not really the top end of the line, right?
Mid-range.
Yeah, it's mid-range, no. But still, as you can see, no, medyo malaki po siya. No? It's a big graphics card, no. It's still power hungry. Okay, it's not an entry-level card na will consume very little power. It will actually consume a lot of power, no. Although yung mga high-end, you'll know why, because dalawa na yung 6+2 na cable na kailangan niya, no? But this one, being a mid-range card, you'll know na isa lang kasi yung gamit niya card. Okay? But for some setups na naka-dual graphics cards, no, you can only imagine you'll need 4 of these cables kasi most of them will use 2 6+2 cables and then 2 graphics cards. So good luck with that, no. You'll need a really strong power supply. But for this build, no, 650 watts is more than enough to supply the power that we need, no. We have how many case fans? 1, 2, 3, 4 case fans, no. Yung motherboard mo na micro ATX, your graphics card, hindi naman siya naka-liquid cooling, no, air cooling lang. Actually, this is a stock cooler, right? Yeah, it's a stock cooler. So, hindi naman ito yung this is actually more or less not really an everyman's build. It's already considered an enthusiast build, no? But it's still on the budget side of things. Okay, so without further ado, let's proceed, no? To take it out, no, and put in the new one. Hello and welcome back. So we have finally removed the power supply from our system unit, no? And as you can see here, we have the Corsair HX650 watts, no, the old power supply. And guess what? It's made by Seasonic. Okay, the OEM is Seasonic, and it's also 650 watts. It's how long is this? More than 10 years na? Okay, so more than 10 years ago, and it's still running, no? It's still running, and 15 years, no? And powering now a Ryzen build, no? A Ryzen build. So, sulit na sulit, no? If you get your money when you buy a true rated branded power supply. And now we're gonna go and install Seasonic Core GX650 into this build. And take a look, just take a look. I'll be honest with you, surprise ako. As you can see, the newer unit is actually smaller, it's more compact, and mind you, it's a modular power supply. As you can see, itong HX650 is a semi-modular power supply because the main power harness is still hard soldered dun sa loob, whereas itong bago natin, this is a fully modular power supply, and you will see na lahat ng connectors including the main power harness is naka-modular connector na. And even with that, it's still more compact, so very, very surprising, and I'm told by Helix, this is made possible by Seasonic's proprietary OptiSync technology, which allows for excellent airflow inside the unit, and also allowing for a more compact build. No surprise, kasi you see that this is a really compact build, and something of note, okay, very similar layout. It's by Seasonic after all. So there you go, So we'll be installing this, and when we come back, you'll see this already kitted out and then installed na dun sa ating system unit. And here you go, we have now kitted the power supply for installation sa ating system unit, So you see this space here, dito po natin siya ilalagay. Okay, we'll come back again. Next na makita nyo siya is install na siya. Just like that. And we are back. We have now installed the power supply, the Seasonic Core GX650 sa ating system unit. Okay, as you can see, the computer is now running. Okay, and at this point in time, we're not yet going to do stress tests, running stress software sa computer, kung magbabago, kung magiging stable ba siya or not. What we're gonna do at this point, we're just gonna check the voltages. Okay, we're going to probe up, and then titingnan natin yung lalabas na voltages from the voltmeter sa multitester natin versus yung readings ng ating BIOS. So first voltage that we're gonna check will be the 12 volts. Tingnan natin. Alright, so we see a reading of 12.3 volts sa multitester, while doon sa ating BIOS reading, it's 12.249. A very, very small difference in voltage. A bit lower doon sa BIOS, versus doon sa multimeter reading. Okay, now we're gonna move to the 5 volts. Tingnan natin kung ano yung voltages na nakukuha natin. Okay, so we see that sa multimeter we have a 5.054 volt reading versus yung nasa BIOS natin na 5.016. Kanina bumaba ng 4.999, but it's still pretty much 5 volts. Ayan, 4.992. So may slight movement, pero doon po sa multimeter, although gumagalaw yung reading nung sa BIOS, we'll see that doon sa multimeter, it's fixed. It's 5.054, hindi po siya nagpa-fluctuate. Okay, let's switch to yung 3 volts. Current BIOS reading is 3.328. Let's see kung ano yung makukuha natin from the multimeter. Okay, so we see a reading now 3.347. 3.347. Hang on. Okay. So, ang reading natin was 3.347 versus 3.328. So, consistently for all voltages, slightly higher yung readings na nakuha natin sa multi-tester versus sa BIOS. So, I'm inclined to think na baka hindi lang ganun kaganda yung hardware ng ating BIOS, no, pagkuha sa voltages. But otherwise, no, are we going to worry about yung voltages? No, definitely not, no. They're all within good tolerance. Wala pong problem. Actually, above the rated requirement na 12, 5, and 3.3 volts. So, from here, we're gonna move on doon sa gagawin natin. Mag-stress test tayo, no? We'll run some benchmark software. And then, let's see what happens kung very stable naman at wala tayong magiging problems with our mid-range setup. And here we are running our stress test with OCCT. Okay, I decided to do the power stress test and it ran for a good hour, and all the while keeping a record of the voltage readings for us to see. Okay, and at full load, our system unit didn't even make the power supply break a sweat. Okay, and you'll see that in the results. Okay, on the 12 volt rail, we had an average of 12.250 volts for the duration of the test. And remember that our initial BIOS voltage reading was at 12.249 volts. So this tells us that the voltage barely changed at all. Very nice. Okay. And moving on to the 5 volt rail, the average reading for the test was at 5.016 volts. And the initial BIOS voltage reading was also at 5.016 volts. Okay, the graph show now you look at the graph, it shows a dip shortly after the start of the test, but easily recovered and held steady afterwards. Okay, and even with that dip, the voltage never went below the required 5 volts. Okay. And finally, with a 3.3 volt rail, the average reading obtained was 3.328 volts. The initial BIOS voltage was also 3.328 volts. And looking at the graph, it was perfectly flat with no changes at all. Clearly, this Seasonic Core GX650 is more than enough to power our 450 watt system unit with plenty of headroom to spare. And in my humble opinion, I think that 650 watts is plenty sufficient to power most enthusiast PC builds out there. Pero syempre iba pang usapan kung yung builds ng hardcore gamers, no? I think they're better off with an 850 watt power supply instead. Okay, but for maybe a good 70% of the builds out there, a 650 watt power supply like this would be more than sufficient. Okay, so this is it, friends, for our second video. I hope okay naman po sa inyo and nagkaroon kayo ng favorable impression sa ating test unit. And I know I was certainly impressed with it. Okay, so once again, thanks to Helix Technologies Incorporated, Seasonic Philippines, and Mr. Ad Tobias for making this video possible. And with that, I'll see you all on the next one.